90% of Plinko players pick the wrong risk level. Here's why 16-row high risk is either your best play or your worst mistake. Plinko is simple. Drop a ball from the top of a pyramid. It bounces off pegs, lands in a bucket at the bottom. Each bucket has a multiplier. You win that multiplier times your bet. The game gives you 3 risk levels: low, medium, and high. Most players pick low or medium, thinking they're being smart. They're leaving money on the table. Or high-risk players bet wrong and go broke in minutes. Here's how 16-row high risk actually works and when you should play it. Risk levels change the entire payout structure. Low-risk Plinko with 16 rows pays multipliers from 0.5 times in the center to 16 times on the edges. Most balls land between 0.5 and 2 times. Safe, boring, slow grind. Medium risk pays 0 times in the center to 33 times on the edges. More variance. High risk pays 0 times in center buckets to 555 times on the furthest edges. Massive variance. Complete chaos. The RTP is identical across all risk levels. Low, medium, and high all have 99% RTP typically. The house takes 1% regardless. So why does risk level matter if RTP is the same? Volatility. Low risk has low volatility. You win small amounts frequently. High risk has insane volatility. You hit 0 constantly, then occasionally smash 500 times multipliers. Same long-term expected return, completely different experience. Here's when to play 16-row high risk. You have a large bankroll. You can handle 50 to 100 consecutive losses. You're chasing life-changing multipliers. You understand you'll probably lose, but you're okay with that cost. If all 4 of these are true, high risk makes sense. If any are false, play low or medium instead. The 16-row structure matters because more rows mean more randomness. 8-row Plinko has less variance than 16-row. The ball bounces 8 times versus 16 times. More bounces mean more chances for the ball to drift to extreme edges where the big multipliers live. 16 rows on high risk gives you the best chance at hitting 500 times or higher multipliers. But it also means you hit 0 times more frequently. Bet sizing on high risk demands discipline most players don't have. You need to bet tiny amounts relative to bankroll, 0.5 to 1% maximum. You have $10,000, bet $50 to $100 per drop. This lets you survive the inevitable 50 plus 0 multiplier hits before catching a big one. Most players bet 5 or 10% per drop. They hit 0 10 times straight and they're broke. The big multiplier never comes because they ran out of money. The math shows why small bets matter. 555 times multiplier sounds insane, but the probability of hitting it is roughly 0.02%. That's 1 in 5,000. Drops approximately. If you're betting 100 per drop, you need $500,000 to take 5,000 shots. Most players have way less. They take 50 shots, hit nothing, go broke, then complain the game is rigged. No, you just didn't have enough bankroll for the variance. Auto drop versus manual drop affects results 0%, but feels different. Some players swear manual dropping gives them control. They think they can time the drop or aim the ball. This is superstition. The outcome is determined by RNG before the animation plays. Manual versus auto makes no difference mathematically, but auto drop lets you execute more drops per hour. If you're hunting rare multipliers, volume matters. Auto drop at max speed gives you more chances per session. The 0 multiplier buckets are the killer on high risk. The center buckets pay 0 times, maybe 3 or 4 buckets out of 17 total. But balls land in these buckets roughly 30 to 40% of the time. Nearly half your drops return nothing. This drains your bankroll fast. Low risk doesn't have 0 multiplier buckets. Every drop returns something. This is why low risk feels better psychologically even though RTP is identical. Chasing losses destroys high risk players. You drop 50 times and hit 0 30 times. You're down significantly. Your brain tells you the big multiplier is coming. It has to balance out. You increase your bet size, you drop 20 times at double your normal bet, still hitting 0. Now you're completely broke. This is the tilt spiral. High risk Plinko triggers it more than any other game because the 0 hits are so frequent and feel so punishing. Stop loss on high risk needs to be stricter than other games. Set maximum loss at 10% of session bankroll. You brought 5,000 to play, stop at 500 down. Not 1,000, not 2,000, 500. High-risk variance means you can lose 10% in 30 drops easily. If you don't stop, you'll lose 50% before you realize what happened. Time limits help too. Set 30 minutes maximum per high-risk session. The game is so fast that 30 minutes can be 200 drops. If you're betting 50 per drop, that's $10,000 wagered. At 1% house edge, expected loss is $100. But variance can swing you 3,000 up or 3,000 down in that span. Time limit forces you to stop and evaluate instead of getting hypnotized by the drops. Profit targets after hitting big multipliers are mandatory. You hit 300 times multiplier on a $100 bet. You just won $30,000. Stop. Cash out. Leave. Don't keep playing. The 1% house edge will drain that $30,000 back to the casino if you keep dropping. Big multiplier hits are your exit signal. Take the money and walk. Most players do the opposite. They hit big. They feel invincible. They increase bet size. They drop. Another 100 times. They give it all back, plus their original bankroll. This pattern repeats constantly. The casino loves high-risk Plinko players because they hit big, don't leave, then donate it all back. The visual entertainment factor makes high risk addictive. Watching the ball bounce down 16 rows is hypnotic. The anticipation builds with each peg. Will it drift to the edge? Will it hit 500 times? This dopamine cycle is intentional game design. Casinos know the entertainment value keeps players dropping long past rational stopping points. Comparing your results to others is pointless. You see someone hit 555 times on their 10th drop. You think you're due. You drop 500 times and don't hit it. This is gambler's fallacy. Every drop is independent. What someone else hit has zero impact on your probabilities. You could drop 10,000 times and never hit 500 times plus, or hit it twice in 20 drops. Randomness doesn't owe you anything. The streamers showing massive Plinko wins are running hundreds of thousands of drops on infinite bankrolls. You're seeing the highlight reels. For every 500 times multiplier shown, there were 5,000 drops hitting zero that weren't shown. Don't base your expectations on streamer results. They're playing with volume you'll never reach. Record keeping shows your true results. Track every session. Note your risk level. Note drops attempted. Note biggest multiplier hit. Note profit or loss. After 50 sessions, you'll see patterns. Maybe high risk is bleeding you 10% instead of 1%. That means you're sizing bets wrong or tilting after losses. Data reveals mistakes, feelings hide. 16-row high-risk Plinko is gambling in its purest form. No skill, no strategy that changes outcomes, just variance and math. You either have the bankroll and discipline to survive until big multipliers hit, or you don't. Most players don't. They play high risk with medium risk bankrolls. They lose fast, then blame the game instead of their approach. If you want entertainment and can afford to lose, high risk is the most exciting Plinko option. If you want to grind slowly and preserve bankroll, play low risk. If you're broke and hoping high risk will save you, don't play at all. High risk Plinko is for players with money to burn chasing lottery tickets, not for players trying to build bankrolls. Subscribe for more Plinko breakdowns. Stop playing high risk with scared money. Start understanding when high risk makes sense and when it's suicide.